Games You Missed is a series where I highlight a great game that may have escaped your notice. If you have any suggestions for games you think should be featured in this series, please leave a comment down below. But today we're going to be talking about Sakura Wars So Long My Love. Sakura Wars So Long My Love remains the only Sakura Wars game to ever be localized in English, and it was strangely launched simultaneously in the West in 2010 on both the Nintendo Wii and PlayStation 2, which just goes to show how much faith developers have in the adoption rates of premium priced consoles like the PS3 was when it first launched. Cough Xbox One X cough. If you're in Europe or Australia, you'll have to settle for the Wii version since the PS2 only saw the light of day in North America, but it's the better version anyway, and if you happen to speak Russian, you can also get 2 earlier games in the series for PC. Theoretically. I'm not sure where you would buy them or the amount of bodging you would have to do to get it to run on a newer version of Windows, but I digress. What is Sakura Wars? Well, it's a hybrid strategy JRPG, and even though it's described as such, I probably wouldn't boil it down to something so simple, but it's also a quote-unquote dating sim. I would, however, relate it closer to the later entries in the Persona series. It's more about making decisions and building relationships in general, but of course, there is the battle element and broader story that those decisions directly influence. This of course means that there are branching story paths and alternate endings. During the time you are spending in the alternate reality version of 1920s New York, you can walk around freely and interact with other characters, and each interaction is kind of like its own minigame. There are multiple lines of dialogue you can choose to say, but you only have a limited time to choose one, and there are also some other mechanics at play there, but it's nothing you shouldn't be able to get the hang of. It's something that a lot of visual novels could do with adopting, since it makes you an active participant in the text you're reading. You're less likely to get bored and frustrated and skip through tons of text that may or may not have been important or interesting. Now, did I mention robots? Because if I didn't, then I've missed an important part. When you battle in mechs, and it isn't the standard kind of strategy RPG battle system that most frequently springs to mind. There are no square grids in sight. Instead, the battlefield offers you free movement during your turn, and your positioning can affect formations and other things during the battle. It is somewhat reminiscent of the Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel trilogy, and it works great. The best thing about this game by far is that both of these elements blend together so well. They don't clash, and one isn't more rewarding than the other. You don't actually earn XP from battling, you earn it during the relationship and decision making process back in the city. So no matter where you are in the game, there is always something important to do. Gone are the days of skipping through the story just to make it to the next battle because it doesn't affect gameplay. Well, actually, sadly those days are still here because there are so few games out there that blend 2 different game types as well as Sakura Wars does. Ultimately, playing Sakura Wars So Long My Love will offer hours upon hours of enjoyment, and it certainly has replay value, but afterwards you are definitely going to sit back and wonder just what you are missing out on with none of the other games having been localized. It's a double-edged sword, but you know the saying, it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. And speaking of double-edged swords, tell me what you thought of this video by hitting the like button if you liked it, or the dislike one if you didn't. Subscribe to see more of me and everything I do, follow me on social media for my latest updates, and if you enjoy my content you could consider supporting my channel on Patreon. Links for all that and more are in the description and on screen. Other than that, I'll see you all soon.